Hi, my name is Ole Heilskov. I just returned from BCon in Brussels last week, and I wanted to make sure that I got all the updates and the highlights from the conference to the guys who missed it. Or if you did attend, maybe this will just be a fun recap to see what I experienced versus what you experienced. So BCon happened in Brussels. It was organized entirely by the Order of the Bee, so I'm really proud to see the community gather around a common goal such as organizing a conference. They put on a ton of work and they've been working really hard to make this a great success. From Alfresco's point of view, we didn't quite know what to expect. Would there be 50 people, 100 people, 150, 180? We just simply didn't know what to expect. BCon closed in at over 150 people. That's just amazing. Imagine 150 people flying in from all over the world. We had people from Malaysia, Tunisia, the US, Germany, Switzerland, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, England. The whole world was represented at BCon. It was just truly amazing to see that everyone came together and wanted to be part of this conference. I had a lot of fun last week, mainly not just because of the beer, which is always nice, but the whole conversation and the vibe and the atmosphere. It was just amazing to talk to all of you people, and all the conversation I've had, I can barely remember half of them. So it was a 2-day conference, and then there was like a day 0 before, where we had a welcome reception and a party, and then we had a social trip to Bruges on the Saturday. So when I arrived on Wednesday, I went to the venue and made sure that helped out with everything I could, and made sure the recording devices that we brought from Alfresco would actually play nice with the network and everything. So we got all that set up, and then we headed down to the welcome party, where we had some nice beers. It was really informal. There's no fixed agenda. So it was just it was really nice. The welcome party was hosted at a place called the Beer Project, which is a microbrewery in Brussels, and it's kind of a fun story. It's crowdfunded, so they have people from all over Europe sponsoring and buying into this, and they will get sent like 3 bottles of beer of the brew every year. So they're crowdfunded, which is atypically for a brewery. It was a really nice story and a nice place. They had some really interesting beers. So if you're ever in Brussels, I definitely recommend you go check out this bar. It was a really cool place. The whole atmosphere at the party was great. It was just a lot of buzzing, and the geeky conversations just sprung up all around the place. I did a small announcement, which were to pass out a few of these. So these are hand-knitted bees that one of my friends created for me. She's really creative. You can check out her website, inaina.dk. I'll provide the link in the description below. Unfortunately it's all in Danish, so you'll have to Google translate it, but you can watch the images and just be amazed by the work she's done. The bees were handed out to people like Mark Rogers, who's done outstanding work. He has like #1 top forum post all time, so I'm really happy we could award him the Bee of Honor. And I gave out a couple of bees to Boris and Oksana for being the father bee and the queen bee, which was really nice. They really appreciated it. So after all, it was a great welcome party and a great way to start off and kick off the week. So on day 1, we had a small welcome session with Boris and Oksana. They bid everyone welcome, made sure that everyone understood why we're doing this, what the Order of the Bee is, and how we can participate. So that was really nice. Then we had John Newton come in and give his keynote presentation, and the title for it was The Journey to Digital Renaissance. I love John Newton as a speaker. He always finds a great way to put in a good balance between real world scenarios and the geeky stuff. So he had a lot, since it was all about journey to digital renaissance. He had a lot of paintings and just found a way to really make the past and the present connect, and I really enjoyed that. There was some announcement that he built up towards, which are important key takeaways, which were, the first thing is that we made a switch in direction, which means that we're now focusing on being a platform company. So rather than focusing on delivering the end applications, we're going to deliver the platform and the frameworks that you need to build applications on top of. That is the focus shift that we've made within the company. The second thing we're focusing a lot on is what we call time to value. And time to value could mean a lot of things, but for us, as we understand it, is all about making it faster, making you succeed faster. So if you're working on a project on Alfresco, whether you're extending Alfresco Share or you're building a completely custom application on top of it, you'll have a lot of resources, a lot of things available that make this easy to you. So that's really a shift that we're really gonna focus a lot on. The third announcement is that we're building a new UI framework based on Angular 2, and we're really excited about this. So this sprung up a lot of conversation. It took up a lot of the small conversation you have in the breaks at a conference. So what this means is that we're not replacing Share, we're not getting rid of iCow, we're still keeping that in place. There's still a place and a use case for Share and iCow, so that's definitely still there. The new UI framework is essentially for you to build new applications. If you have the use case where you need to build a completely new application from the ground up, or you're already building an application in Angular, which we know a lot of our customers and partners are doing, you'll be able to pull in ECM and BPM components to do stuff like upload, document list, rules, actions, start workflow, forms, all these kind of things that will just be baked in. We'll have a lot more to talk about from the new UI framework, and expect the Tech Talk Live within the next couple of weeks, where we'll give a deep dive on what's actually going on. The rest of the day was filled with great sessions. So we had Axel, who talked about iCow. We're 2 years into it. What can we do with it? What are the challenges, the strengths and weaknesses? It was a really great session. Bindu stole the show with his Yeoman generator, which I'm really excited about. The Yeoman generator is basically a scaffolding tool that goes in and writes out all the files and all the boilerplate code that you need to do. And it's interactive, so you tell it to generate a new web script, and you specify like package names and a few other inputs, and it will just generate the files in the right place, in the right locations. It even helps you create your projects and wire in new amps and everything, so that's really, really cool project. I'm super excited to see this go into the SDK, so I'm looking forward to working directly with Bindu to make sure we get a good bridge between the official SDK and what he's done here. So thank you so much for that contribution. Few other sessions. Michael Suzuki did a great session on how to load test your add-ons on top of Alfresco. So he showed how to work with stuff like UKit and really make sure that you know what you're doing when you need to benchmark and load test whatever you're creating on top of Alfresco. So that was definitely a great session. We had a panel on contributing to Alfresco with Thomas DeMeo, Mark Heath, John Sotovelis, Richard and me. So we discussed all the challenges we have around community contributions, taking contributions overall, and open source in general on how this affects the company. That was definitely a great session. And then we closed out with the Alfresco product map, roadmap with Thomas DeMeo, where he discussed all the things that we delivered with 5.1 and all the things we're going to focus on moving forward. Being part of the company and product management, I already knew all of these things, but this being out there now means that I can officially discuss it with you guys, which is always nice, so you guys know what's coming. Then we had the evening dinner party, which was just a great, nice casual buffet with beers and a lot of good conversation. And I think a few of you carried on even after the dinner was over and had more beers. I had to get up early to make sure we got all the recording devices up and running again on the second day. So I had to go home early, but I also had to finish off my presentation. So on the second day, the day was split up into 2 tracks, or actually 3 tracks. So we had the hackathon that went out throughout the whole day, and then we had 2 rooms filled with sessions. So it was a very interesting day. I had some great sessions. Yoram did a deep dive in Activity and the Activity 6 engine and how that works. It was a good hands-on session with lots of code and live demos. I really enjoyed that kind of session, so that was definitely a good one. Then I did my presentation on Alfresco SDK, the past, present, and future. Should probably have renamed that to the roast of the SDK. I spent the first half of the session discussing what's wrong with the SDK and practically just dismantling it, and made sure that everyone understood why we have the issues we have. And then I spent the last half on discussing SDK 3.0, the approach we're taking with JARs and everything, and how it's going to solve a lot of the issues we have. It's not a golden solution, golden ticket that just solves everything, but it's a nice segue. So look forward to that session being published. Then there was a lot of sessions going on that day, and I ran a lot back and forth, so I didn't see much, but I did manage to see some of the lightning talks. Lightning talks are always great. I'm no good at lightning talks myself. I'm always extremely verbose, so condensing everything into a 5-minute presentation is just a huge task for me, and I haven't done it successfully yet. We had the product vision for Community Edition with Richard, so he discussed what we're doing, which direction we're taking with Community Edition, how we differentiate things between Community Enterprise, and how we decide which things goes into either of the products. So that was a really interesting and good conversation. We got some great feedback and questions on that one. Then we had Jeff Potts come in and steal the show on the second day. So Jeff Potts is like one of the legends in Alfresco ecosystem, and even though he doesn't work for Alfresco anymore, he still works with Alfresco from a consulting point of view. He did a great talk on I can't remember the title of the session. Something about would Alfresco survive a zombie apocalypse? And the gist of it is if all Alfresco employees were all of a sudden turned into zombies, where would you stand, and how well would Alfresco survive in that in that scenario? And he had some really interesting points that I think would be useful for a lot of people to see. So definitely check out the recording once we get that up of his session. That was really a good session. Then we did the hackathon demos, and I'm always impressed by hackathon demos because people come together, they work for one day, really focused, and I'm just amazed by the amount of creativity and the amount of things people can get done in just one day, or under one day actually. So maybe some of you cheated a bit from home, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, but just seeing the fruits of people, great minds coming together in a room for a day and see all the outputs, that's really just beautiful. So I enjoyed that very much. Then we had the closing Q&A, which was really informal. I like informal kind of presentations where we had a panel with a lot of Alfresco employees. I was on the panel along with a few of my colleagues, and we had some questions that were submitted previously, and we took live questions from the audience. So it was really good conversation style kind of thing, which touched a bit back on contributions, and it was just a nice way to finish everything off. And then the organizers of the Order of the Bee revealed that they are planning to do BeeCon again next year in Zaragoza in Spain. So I'm extremely excited about this, turning this into a repeatable event. Overall, I'd say the 2 days were a huge success, but it didn't stop there. If you were to spend the weekend in Brussels, we did a social event to a city called Bruges. It's a small, beautiful city just outside Brussels, and it is just gorgeous. Cannot describe it, and I'll put a few pictures up here just for you guys to see. We went there and we walked around, saw the church and some sightseeing. Then we had a few beers and some lunch, and it was really just a great time, and just to see the conversation keep going even after the conference had actually ended. Overall, BeeCon was a huge success. I was so happy to see all of you. To the people I didn't get to talk to, I'll definitely come and talk to me next time. It's just difficult when you're running back and forth between rooms and everyone pulls you aside and wants to talk to you. It's crazy, it's exhausting, but I love it so much. I want to thank the organizers of BeeCon, so Boris, Angel, Oksana, Christina, the rest of the bees, who really did a tremendous job on making sure it was a huge success. I enjoyed it extremely much. And I want to thank the Alfresco executives. So we had John Newton, Mark Heath, and Thomas DeMeo. They all showed up and either had sessions or participated, and I know they enjoyed it a great deal as well. So overall, huge success. I would definitely go again. We did record all of the sessions. I have the recording devices just on my floor beneath me, so I need to take all the recordings, download them from the devices and process them and make sure the audio is okay, and then put them on YouTube. So this is gonna take a while, so please bear with me. I'm going away for a week next week, so it will probably be just a few weeks before we have everything up and running. In case the audio or something went wrong with the recordings, we are planning to do a Tech Talk Live, or a series of Tech Talk Live, where we invite some of the speakers from BeeCon to come back up on the stage, even though it's a virtual stage, and and have a second go at their presentations. So we could do 2 20-minute presentations in one session, including questions or excluding questions. So that'll be some great sessions. So in case your recording didn't make it, if the audio somehow was messed up, or if you just wanted to have a redo on your sessions, you still have the second chance, and we'll be reaching out to you shortly just to coordinate and see if you're interested in that. So yeah, definitely Beacon, huge hit, would go again, would do it all again. So let's make sure we make the next Beacon even greater, and I'll see you soon.